So this is the fourth symphony, and then the next one.
Now I'm going to ask you, when are you going to write the definitive book on Martin?
Well,
Because you are now the world's leading expert.
well,
I was a
thank you.
pioneer. I was like walking in a jungle, you know, but it's now something you have to do.
I surely want to write. I'm not sure if it's going to be the definitive, because there's nothing like definitive. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to wait until we have substantial materials changing the view, adding to the view so much that it won't be just a collection of quotations from all the books by you, Harry Halbrecht, Shafranek. So I decided to start when I'm 60, 65, 70, because now we are working on this complete Martinů edition. And I have to say that working on one major work for 3 years brings so much knowledge about every single word that you, in the preface, you are in a way writing a new story about the Genesis, about the final Fassung letzter Hand. And I think we need to have something like 50 volumes. We're covering, let's say, from the 20s till the 50s, and only then you have the songs, die Sonden, into
The sources.
Yeah, an insight into his life from the 20s till the 50s, and only then it's possible to write something essentially new. And I think before that it's not necessary. It's not necessary to just correct few words or sentences, or to add just few new
It has to be more significant.
It has to be something which really offers a view on Martinů which would have been impossible for any single writer, because it's even if I'm going to write it, it will be the result of work of dozens of people.
Well, you're right. You need more time, because every year something new will come. And I have on the run when it appears.
You have to run to still. You have one more reason to stay here with us, and I think really nothing feels more ridiculous than finding out you are just repeating sentences by someone else.
No.
And
it has to have some richness, originality.
Yeah.
It really must.
And then it needs an entirely different strategy, entirely different approach, structure.
Structure is important.
And it needs to have knowledge about materials unknown to people before, so that you really can, because all the major books on Martinů from the 70s had a limited access to materials, even if this limited means working with Charlotte in Compiègne, but it was only what Charlotte has in Compiègne. And nowadays we have 4,500 letters, for example.
That's amazing.
And even that, we are now working on them, indexing them, so that you can put, let's say, Fifth Symphony as a into the search machine, and then all the catalogized letters will split out all the references, and then you can read hundreds of letters in original, I mean in copies, but copies of originals, and then making a picture of how everything happened. And that's really enormously amazing. I started with the Epic of Gilgamesh, something like 10 years ago, and I really can say that now for the mid-50s, I would feel informed enough to write a chapter of this monography.
That's amazing.
But I need to do the same, or not me, but my colleagues to do the same with chamber music of the 20s.
Sure.
To do this with his operas from the early 30s, with his late 30s concerto grosso works.
Yes.
And only then we really can get an overview. I mean, it was such an enormous output.
It was unbelievable.
And we are spending 10 times, 100 times more time with the works than Martinů himself, because he composed the Gilgamesh within a month.
Yeah.
I worked on it for 10 years. So it's really, and only then it's possible to fill in all the gaps, all the deductions, all the ideas not based on facts but simply all hypotheses. So that's what not before I'm 65 or so. But we need now all the. I think even if I will never write something like that, I feel my goal is to release as much volumes of this complete critical edition as possible.
That's wonderful.
And then if someone else comes and makes a sort of her own book out of it, why not?
Absolutely.
Because if you have your name on dozens of critical editions, it's awesome.